What's up and welcome back to another video. My name is Miles Away. Now today we're going to be talking about what I think is quite possibly the most unique and innovative VST that I've tried. Now I know that's a bold claim, but I do truly feel like nowadays it's harder and harder to create something that's genuinely fresh and innovative, and that's what Lunacy Audio's Cube has managed to do. Now, what Cube is essentially a really creative take on vector synthesis and sampling-based synthesis that uses three-dimensionality to create really beautiful tapestries of sound. Now, to understand why this is so interesting and important, we gotta go all the way back to 1986 with the creation of the Prophet VS from the legend himself, Dave Smith. Now, what made the Prophet VS so innovative at its time was that it took the concept of crossfading between two different sounds and multiplied it by 2 to have crossfading on two-dimensional planes, the X and the Y axis. Now, unfortunately for Dave Smith, this idea was a little bit ahead of its time and the Prophet VS did not do well at all. Vector synthesis was then unfortunately forgotten for a few years before it was used again by the much more popular Korg Wavestation and Yamaha SY22 keyboards. But what Lunacy Audio have done today, if we fast forward all the way to the present day, is take that idea of vector synthesis and expand upon it to 3 dimensions. So instead of now just having an X and Y plane to create sounds, you also have a Z plane as well. On top of being a truly innovative way to do sample-based synthesis, Cube also lets you import your own sounds, has sequencers, arpeggiators, a huge effects matrix, 4 LFOs and a mod matrix, and so much more. So today, sit back, relax, and let me walk you through the amazing world of Lunacy Audio's Cube. Before we begin, I just wanted to say a big shout out to Lunacy Audio for sponsoring this video, and to you for liking and subscribing if you enjoy it. Let's get started. All right, so here we are on the front panel of Cube, and the first thing I want to do is go through some of my favorite presets with you guys. Now we could spend all day going through those presets, they're just amazing, but let's create our own sounds, and I'll show you just how easy it is to do this with the power of Cube's engine. So we'll start with an initialized preset. It sounds like this. So already a nice sound to begin with, but where the brilliance of Cube comes in is really in these two sections, sounds and orbits, and we'll get to both of them. So what sounds is for each dimension of the cube, you're going to pick a different sample or loop that will be your sound source for that. Then with orbits, you're going to choose how the movement through the cube works. Now, if that's confusing to start, trust me, it'll make sense. And once it does, your mind may in fact be blown. So let's go ahead and we'll pick a sound, a different sound for each one. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna start with a vocal here for a vocal sample. Now, just the quality of the sound samples you get in here are amazing. And even if you don't want to do any of the fancy movement stuff, the vector synthesis that Cube is known for, just as a sampler, it's an amazing one. Beautiful. So let's go to the next dimension of our cube. And the next coolest thing about Cube is that you can actually use user samples. So here, I'm going to grab some wind noise that I've imported in already. Let's see where some wind is. There we go. I love that you can add in your own samples here. It really takes this to a whole nother level of power. Let's go ahead and we'll grab another user sample. This one, because it's one of my own samples, it's not in the same key as everything else, we're going to have to retune that, which we can do by going like this. Beautiful. All right, so then we're gonna go ahead and pick a couple more. I'll try to do this quickly. Texture. So now we have all of our dimensions that have a sound imported into them. Now what we're gonna do then is we're gonna go into our orbits, and here's where the magic happens. So if I play one note, you can see this is what's happening to the sound source. The sound source is basically all of them mixed equally because it's in the center of the cube. But then as we start to enable the orbit and we can choose through different shapes, we can choose a whole bunch of parameters, the sound will completely change. We can choose how fast the cube will go. We can choose whether it re-triggers or if it's just free like an LFO. We can choose our offset where it begins. We can rotate the entire cube on each of the 3 dimensions. It's really quite beautiful. However, I am going to go ahead and swap out this one of my samples for a different one. Let's go ahead and grab... what about this? Perfect. So going back to our orbits. See, I really like the sound of that. I'm gonna make it even a little bit slower. We can change our master filter. We can change our global envelope shape to make it more pad-like or more plucky. Beautiful. We can choose if we want to have all of our sounds reversed. You can do this one by one as well. Or looped. Tons and tons of power, right? And if that weren't enough, we also have 4 LFOs, which we can map to pretty much anything here with our mod matrix. So for example, if I wanted to make, let's go ahead and grab slot 1, LFO 1, we're gonna go ahead and target the global volume. So now we've got a sort of tremolo effect. And And let's say if we wanted our macro to target the speed of the LFO. So let's go ahead and do LFO 1 rate. So we'll go back then, we'll make it start a little bit slower. And then if we go into our macro here, we can go and change the LFO speed. So not only is it a sampler with this innovative vector synthesis design, but you also get your own full mod matrix, which is pretty amazing too. All right, so go ahead. We also get a fully featured effects section, and these effects sound amazing. So we've got a filter already. Let's start off with a high pass and just, cut out a little bit of the mud. We have a whole bunch of other filter types as well too, like bandpass and notch, but we'll stick to high pass. We've got our EQ if we want to add a little bit of an extra boost somewhere here or there. The distortion, we've got 3 types of distortion: saturation, wave shaping, and bit crushing. All 3 are fantastic. I really like this for adding in a bit of grit into our sound. Listen to how good that sounds. We've got our compressor, which we'll skip for now, chorus, and then my favorites, of course, delay and reverb. So if we turn on our delay, let's turn up the feedback, and we'll make our right side slower rather, and our left side longer. So. Beautiful sounding pad right here. Let's go ahead and add a reverb. There's 2 types of reverbs. Both sound great. If you want a convolution reverb based on a impulse sample, that's awesome. For me, I'm gonna use the more synthy, kind of basic, simple reverb here. But if we go ahead and turn our size and width up, turn down the damping, should sound lovely with our pad. And just like that, we'll add a little bit of limitering. We've got a beautiful, unique pad sound. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this so I can go back to it later. But what's really cool about this, and why this plugin is so inspiring in my opinion, is that now with this sound, we can immediately change it to something pretty drastically different just by playing with the different orbits. So let's go ahead. If that weren't enough, we also can have close control over the actual individual sound samples, such as individual looping and arpeggiation. So if we do this, for example, we do 2 octaves of arpeggiation on a couple of these. So for my final thoughts and verdict, I hope I've gone and shown you guys throughout this video just how interesting and innovative this VST's core idea is. The idea of the 3-dimensionality in the cube. The sound quality is amazing. The fact you can load your own user samples, loops, whatever, just gives this an incredible depth that we barely even touched on today. And overall, the effects and the mod matrix, the UI, it's all very well laid out. If you are interested in getting Cube, right now there's a sale going on for 40% off in their store until October 25th, so jump on it now if you do like the sound of it. As always, I've been Miles Away. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to Lunacy Audio for sponsoring this video. Let's jump to one more demo song to play us out. you.